and then we'll let everyone in here. Welcome, everyone.
Thank you, everybody, for joining. The Rooster is a lot of fun to paint. So it's great to see such a nice crowd.
Yeah. Let's see here. Real quick, Jeff. I'm just gonna mention a couple things. So we are recording this class, and we're gonna post it later in case you want to go back and watch it. We'll send out a link to everyone once it is posted. And the way we kind of do these classes, if you haven't, you may have heard this before, but basically we just keep everyone muted, and then if you have a question, you can just use the chat feature. I'll be watching out for any questions coming in. So if you have a question, just use the chat, type it in there, and then I'll read it and ask Jeff, or I can respond if it's not if I don't have to ask Jeff about it. So yeah, so we just keep everyone muted and the questions in the chat. Let's see here. I think that's pretty much it, but
awesome. And we want you to ask as many questions as possible.
Yep.
So and we'll try to get through them. Yeah, thank you for joining us. Roosters are a lot of fun to paint because they certainly have attitude. If you've ever been on a farm, you know that they are the boss, and they're the king of the farm, and they protect the barn. They protect the chickens, and even humans coming to in their area, they will attack. So I grew up on a farm, and I remember being a little boy going out to do the chores, and we had one rooster on the farm that would attack us every time, every morning. And I think that attitude of the roosters has stuck with me. So when I draw or paint a rooster, I'm always thinking about that rooster and how he was the boss. And so thinking about that, that'll help us give him a little attitude, give him a little personality as we go ahead and paint him. So if you've taken the classes before, you know that we will usually sketch out the roosters or the subject first, and we'll do it a few times just so we get comfortable with the subject. We create some memory muscle. And so once we start painting, we'll be so comfortable, so confident with the shape of this rooster that we can apply paint, and it will go on successfully. We'll be happy with how it turns out. So if you have a drawing new tool, I'm going to use charcoal. If you have pencil or a pen or marker, crayon, anything like that, follow along. And we're just going to kind of keep repeating the same basic pattern. And maybe what we could do, if we could have Jake put up a picture of the rooster that we are going to be painting tonight. There we go. So if you look at him and you kind of look at him in an abstract way, do you see kind of a heart shape for the most part in his body? So we have a heart-shaped body. We have the head that goes up. We have the crown, and then also the tail feathers and legs. But if you're thinking about his body shape as kind of either a diamond or a heart, we are already winning because we know that shape. And so now when we go forward, it'll be easy for us to create that multiple times in our drawing and painting. So let's sketch him out a few times. So we can put down that, well, sure, maybe I'll sketch out the rooster a few times, and follow along with me. So like we said, we have the heart. So I'm just going to kind of do an abstract heart there. With that head,
And just a heads up for everyone, don't worry too much if you're not exactly keeping up with Jeff. Jeff will do this a few times, so it's just kind of just, you know, going through the motions and practicing it.
yeah, thank you, Jake. So we're just going to keep repeating that pattern. So we have that idea of the heart shape. So we'll just keep duplicating him. Some rough sketches. And think about that heart shape. That's our rooster. His feet come down at an angle like that. His head comes up like this. Is that, just keep, maybe do small ones. You will get some good ones and you will get some bad ones. All of them are valuable. The idea is we just want to do it as quick as we can. So we're not even thinking about it really. Again, kind of that heart shape. Just keep duplicating that pattern. And again, you will get some good ones, you'll get some bad ones, but that's okay. All of it is a learning process. The bad ones tell us what not to do next time, but just kind of notice, you're trying to get that shape of the rooster. Of course, the rooster we're going to be drawing, he's got some strong tail feathers up here. So
in a second, Jeff, could you get the camera just a little bit closer? Maybe do it off to the side so you can still move around a little bit.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if that's,
how's that?
yeah, I think that's perfect right there.
Okay.
As long as you can still move though.
Here, let me just try this over. Oh, 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 there it is. Just kidding.
Don't go dying us now, Jeff.
So, yeah, just keep, maybe move this over a little bit. How's that?
Could
I
not
have
be
all the
better.
room in the world now.
Perfect.
So just play around, have some fun with the details. That comb that he has, again, you can kind of see that he's a little bit expressive. So I'm not trying to be exact. I'm actually trying more to give him a personality. And that's really what we want. Just that the idea that it's a rooster. Of course, we're doing up the details that make him a rooster, but we're not necessarily worrying about the details being perfect. And that's going to give us a funner rooster. So a couple of things that you want to notice on the rooster, on the back of his head and the so notice this little kink right here in his neck and this kink right here on his chest. And of course, each rooster will have a different type of feathers right here. But as long as we acknowledge something going on right here, it will work as a rooster. If you're struggling just a little bit, another way you can look at him is as a Y. So is that making sense for everybody? We want to simplify the rooster down to its basic shape. So I can easily see kind of a heart shape for the most part with his body. Once we can see those basic shapes, now all of a sudden he becomes easy to draw because now we just add a few details and he becomes a rooster. So how is everybody doing? Are you getting some roosters? I see some thumbs going up. Cool. All right. So do you want to draw the rooster a few more times, or would you like to start painting the rooster? Give me a thumbs up if you want to start painting the rooster. Excellent. Okay. The head is a little tricky. Any advice? Yes. So don't try too hard. So remember, his head's going to come up at a kink like that. So there's the basic shape of his head. So from here, coming up in that kink, just go up. Abstract it a little bit, make it easy. So that crown. Whoop. How was that? Did that help any? So we want to simplify him as easy, make it as easy as possible for us. So once we start actually painting, we want to be able to put paint onto our palette knife or onto our brush and suggest it just with a few strokes. Somebody put butter on my charcoal. Keeps falling out of my hands.
Someone does that every week.
Jake.
I sneak in and
So is that that's a rooster having a bad hair day.
or a good hair day, depending on how you think of it.
That's true.
Oh, let's see here. Oh, somebody's coming in here. Tina, you have your hand up. Do you have by chance, are you able to put your question in the chat or not? Oops, here we go. Or not? Okay. Let's see here. Hold on 1 second. I think I can. All right, hold on 1 sec. All right, if you want to ask a question real quick here, I think you should be able to unmute temporarily.
I just was wondering what medium you're going to use when you do paint, or does it matter?
It doesn't matter. Some people will use, I'm going to use oil paint, but some people will use acrylic, some will use watercolor, even technology. They'll use an app for drawing on their iPad. So whatever you want to use. Once we start, the basic principles will be the same. So no matter what you're using, it will apply and you'll end up with a great rooster.
No, I don't think so.
So one thing I do is I end up going faster than I should. So I'm gonna really try to go as slow as possible for everyone. The actual rooster will not take a long time to paint, but we're gonna kind of walk through it. And then maybe if we have enough time at the end of the class, we'll actually repaint the rooster but we'll do it in about 20 minutes. And what's kind of cool is right now we're going to learn we're going to walk through it, kind of get a tutorial on painting the rooster. But once we start that 20-minute program or 20-minute paint session, now we're going to completely rely on our intuition and everything that we learned tonight, everything that we sketched out tonight. And we usually end up with a better painting than the one that we slowly walk through. So it's kind of fun. Again, this is a great way to paint because you're painting from intuition, and each one of us is going to paint differently. So at the end of the night, every one of us is going to have a different painting, which is great. But our intuitions will be different. And so how we paint the rooster is going to allow us to have a variety of roosters. But that's what's cool about creating, is that everybody's going to create differently. So there is no right or wrong way of doing it. We'll just kind of walk through it using principles rather than paint by number type class. All right, so let's put our paints on the palette. All right, so I recommend the 3 primaries, which is magenta, and we have cyan blue, and you can use lemon yellow is the true primary color. And if you've taken the class, you've heard me say this before, lemon yellow doesn't carry a lot of strength as far as pigment. So I recommend cadmium yellow light. You get a similar effect, but it has a lot more pigment. And if you're trying to get that exact color, having the right amount of pigment definitely makes it easier. So there is cadmium yellow light. Now I'm going to add 2 colors that are not part of the primaries just because I really like them. One is cadmium red light. And basically it's a red-orange color. So I'm drawn to that color. To me, I feel like it's my little secret weapon in painting. The other color that's my little secret weapon is Indian yellow. Now, if you do not have these colors, no problem. You're going to want use them in the same way, whether it's a yellow, red, or blue. Think of color not as just simply red, yellow, blue, but kind of expand the dynamics of it. And what I mean by that, think of yellow as warm, red is warm, blue is cold. Red and blue are darker than yellow. And then once we start mixing colors, think about colors being clean, which means that they have not been mixed with their complement and made into a mud. So it's a clean color compared to a muddy color. Both of them are awesome for our paintings and powerful in the paintings. So that way our colors become more than just simply red, yellow, blue, orange, green. Now they become a tool in our hand to start sculpting the painting and to make the painting more dynamic. That's simple. Oh, let me take off my drawing pad. So you look at this rooster, And Jake, could you put that rooster back up? Let's
Yes. And
so if you look at that rooster, notice that there's kind of an emerald green in the tail. There's some blue in the chest feathers. And of course, we see red, orange, yellow. We see kind of a burnt orange. And so obviously we can have a lot of fun with these colors. So that's really what's most important. So as we go through, we're going to kind of just simply walk through the shape of that rooster. So, but you remember, notice that there's some white tail feathers coming up on his backside, going out towards the tail feathers. The wing going down, it goes from dark black blue, and then all of a sudden switches over to a light orange peach color. And let's see here. Just trying to look for some things that are obvious to make him unique. I think it'll be that green and blue. We're going to want to match that up with the orange and yellow and red. Those will be important in our rooster. All right, so if we go back to our palette now, let me kind of scoot this over a little bit. So you remember how we just quickly drew out the rooster. So if you're using a palette knife, let's kind of do that same thing.
Connie, do you have a quick question here? There we go. I think you should be able to unmute now.
I forgot to add white.
Oh, there you go. Let me.
Here we go.
Oh,
All right. If I couldn't get that blue that you needed, I got a it's kind of it's this color, curling blue.
Cerulean?
Yeah. Can you
Okay.
use that?
Yep. So cerulean is the color of the sky.
Okay.
So it'll be a warmer blue, but no problem. That'll
Okay.
actually Viridian hue. Yes, definitely. Can we use Viridian hue? I'm assuming it's Viridian green, and then that cobalt blue. Definitely.
Yeah, I got the other green. I got a light green, and then chromium oxide green.
Perfect. Yeah. So
Okay.
Yep.
Or I got a sap green.
Oh, I love sap green in landscapes. But I think if you take did you say you have Viridian green?
I got chromium oxide green.
Oh, okay, okay. So if you mix that with just a little bit of blue and yellow in there, it will kind of make it more that emerald green.
Okay. They didn't have very many colors at the store because they said they're not getting in any shipments.
Oh no.
So,
So yes, no
Jeff,
problem.
if I
go
fail at this, you're getting all my paints.
Oh, all right, let's start red. And we'll put that in the tail. No, I promise. So just think of color, light, dark, warm, cool. Once we start mixing colors, clean and dirty, that way it will be able to use the colors more effectively. So if we don't have the exact color, if we're using it as a dark, we'll get a similar effect. All right, just to give you an example. So you notice that we don't have any black up on my palette. But if you take some of the cadmium red light and equal amounts of the cyan blue. You'll see that we get a great black just from mixing those two together.
We got a question. What would you suggest, the scraper or brushes? I think she means the palette knife or the brushes.
Yeah, you can use either one. So again, think of your, we're going to simplify it. Think of the palette knife or that scraper or a brush as a tool. It's a vehicle from taking the paint on the palette and applying it onto the canvas. We're just going to pick it up, apply it onto the canvas, and then move it around until we like it. So you can use either one. All right. One thing that maybe we can do to get started is we're going to kind of make a mess. And we're going to make the mess a super rough sketch of the rooster. And then we're going to start editing it. And then we're going to get some happy accidents, but we'll also be very happy with the end results. So what do I mean by that? So I'm going to take some Indian yellow and I'm just going to look at my rooster. I'm going to just kind of sketch him out. And we just want to rough as sketch as possible of our guy. If you've taken the class before, you've heard me say, you don't want to like your rooster yet, or you don't want to like your painting yet. Because as soon as you start liking it, that's when we're going to start painting. We're going to start fidgeting with the painting, you know, putting the paint on, and then we'll kind of try to move it around a little bit to make it better. So we don't want to do any of that right now. Right now, we just want to make a mess. Matter of fact, we can take I mix my my cadmium red and my cyan blue together. I got a nice black. So I'm just gonna it's a lot easier to paint him when we can it's easier to make judgments on him once we have that rough scratching of that light yellow on our palette or on our canvas. So again, just making a mess. There's no right or wrong way of doing it. You can move stuff around. Everything's fixable. We just want to get the basic shape of our rooster on there. So right now, I'm not necessarily putting on thick paint. I'm sketching, just like we use that charcoal to sketch. I'm taking my palette knife, picking up paint, doing a rough sketch of my rooster. And of course, later when I want, I can easily go back. And edit. So that's why we don't have to worry about it being accurate right now. Right now, we just want to get comfortable with the shape. Remember, it's that idea of the heart. We threw some tail feathers on there. We got the crown, we got the little kink in the neck up here, the kink on his chest. We're coming down at a Y shape for his legs. How's everybody doing? Are you getting a rooster or are you getting a rose garden or a cow? Oh, perfect, Sarah. Yep, that's exactly what you want to do. So basically, what Sarah had is just a mess like this that for those who new with palette knives, yeah, you got a hen. We can work with a hen. All right, so if you're going to use a palette knife, one thing that you want to do is hang on to the palette knife with the tips of your fingers. So if you hang on to it like this, like an actual knife, let me grab it. So if you hang on to it like this, you're going to come and drag your knuckles across the paint below it. So when you're holding onto it with the tips of your fingers, it allows you to use the whole blade and keep your hand back from the canvas. Very important. At first, it doesn't matter because we can apply as much pressure as we want. You can kind of hear me applying pressure. But once we start adding paint on top of paint, now we don't want to add any pressure. We want to pick up our paint and just allow the paint that's on the palette knife to come down and kiss lightly the paint that's on the canvas. Then you slide the palette knife to the side and the paint will stay on top of the paint down below it. So you should get a fresh layer of paint. But it will take a little bit of practice just to get used to it. All right, so let's try. So I took some cadmium red light. I muddied it up with my dark here. Grab a little yellow too. There we go. So look right up here, there's a nice dark color.
Someone's just wondering, how did you mix the green?
Yellow. For this green here, all I used was yellow, white, and my dark mixture right here. Yeah, if you end up with a hen, no problem. If you get the comb on his head, we'll bring it back to a rooster. We'll give him some attitude here. Yes, I will slow down. Thank you for reminding me. it's maybe a little combination of nerves, teaching a class, but keep observing your painting. Make sure the shapes are somewhat accurate. If you look at the shape of the rooster, remember it's kind of heart shaped. So just making sure that that basic shape with the tail feathers here, crown up here, legs coming down like this, it's just feeling balanced in the painting. Another thing that can happen is if we don't have any control in the shape, what will happen is your tail feathers will actually go right off the back end. And you really want to avoid that. So notice that I actually shortened up my tail feathers just a little bit. So it's just, when we do a class like this, it seems like if I forget to mention that, a number of paintings will have that tail go right off the end. So make sure you keep that in there. And why that's not good in a painting is that it takes the viewer's eye and it pulls it off the painting. So in reality, we want to keep that eye, the viewer's eye, in the painting and floating around inside it. So again, let's say the shape is out of form. Create a contrast color. Like here, I just made a light green. Maybe I'll go a little bit lighter. And so then I will just kind of reshape them a little bit.
Quick question. Someone's wondering, are we sticking with these colors or are we only working on the shape and not the color?
So we'll keep reusing these colors and create just about any color that we need in this rooster. So I'm basically going to be using our three primaries, the yellow, the blue, and the magenta. I'll use these colors just for highlights. If you're not liking the shape of your painting, do something drastic. You might have to go in and scrape off a section, or like what I just did is make another color, a contrast color, and go in there and just reshape it, kind of mold the rooster a little bit. And this is okay if we get some colors blending into each other, if we get some mistakes in there. With this style of painting, like Bob Ross said, there's just happy accidents. When we get to the very end of the painting, then we can make the decision whether we want to fix that or not. Again, do not like your painting. Soon as you start liking your painting, I promise that's when you're gonna go in, you're gonna apply paint, and then you're gonna go in there and sit here and try to make it better. And you start losing the painting at that point. So you wanna think of it, I love the illustration, the idea of building a house. If you're gonna build a house, you think about that guy that comes in with a bulldozer and starts moving the earth around. He does not care about where you're gonna put your couch and your favorite pillow on that couch when he's working, right? He's just going in there to make a basic, basically flatten the earth so that they can start building. The guys that come in to pour concrete, to build the walls, they're still not necessarily caring about where you're gonna put that couch and the pillow that goes on top of it. And it's gonna be like that through the whole process. When it gets down to the paint, the carpet, the trim work, now all of a sudden they're starting to care a little bit. And not until you actually, the house is done, you put the couch in the spot where you have it planned, and you place your favorite pillow on there, that's when you're done with the house. So if you think about all of that process before then, they don't care about the final product. They just want to get in there and kind of just get their responsibility done on the house. I won't go too far into the illustration because I'll start going off track, but just don't like your painting at this point. Obviously you're thinking about the shapes. As you can see here, I have all kinds of different messes on there. But to me, at the end of the painting, that's exactly what I'm going to want for that expressive rooster painting. So I just keep going back and kind of just making sure his shape is pretty much what I want. So, and at this point too, we have paint on the canvas. So after we have paint on the canvas, that's when we're going to stop putting hard pressure on our palette knife. We're going to start using it very gently. So we're going to just go up. We're going to let the two paints basically kiss each other and then just slide sideways with the palette knife. Because if you go up there and you apply pressure, basically you're going to mush those two colors together. And then you'll lose the color that you want. All right, how's everybody doing? Give me a thumbs up or give me a thumbs down if you want me to stay where I'm at and not move forward yet. Perfect, Connie. One of the cool things about not caring about your painting at this point is that you can go in there and just slop the paint around. Again, not in such a reckless way that you catch the paint or catch the palette knife and flick the paint onto the ceiling, flick it onto your face, the neighbor's house. But if you go in and you just move the paint around the way you want it, again, you're already starting that process of intuition. that's going into your painting. Matter of fact, if you can trust your intuition, the more you trust your intuition, the happier you are going to be with your painting. So if you're caught up, what I just did is I grabbed some of my cyan blue, just mixed it lightly with my light green. So that light green going into the cyan blue, it's going to kind of create a it's going to go towards the direction of turquoise or emerald. And so I just mix those together. Remember on that rooster, on his chest feathers and on his chest feathers had kind of a blue color, and then his tail had more of that emerald color. So you can kind of create your so kind of just a little suggestion. When we apply the paint, you'll notice when I apply the paint, I put it on there and then I leave it. So part of it is the confidence that I know it's going to work, but also what I want you to take from that is have that same confidence, apply the paint and leave it. Leave it and keep working on other parts of the painting. So that stops us from doing all that little fidgeting, right? But later in the painting, let's say we decide later in the painting that, okay, that absolutely doesn't work. Then we can make a change. But if we confidently put on that application of paint, leave it, your painting is going to come across as more, as if the artist is more confident in their ability. So go in there and apply the paint and just leave it. Everything can be edited later. So on his neck, I'm actually going to make it more of a gray purple color. And do you know why? Because nobody says I can't. No, you do not need to be using the same colors. Matter of fact, yesterday we had our first day of our course, and it focused on color. And just one little gem from it is that color is endless. Learning about color and how you're going to use color. So one person who starts on the path of certain colors that they like, a different one will start on a different path using different colors. Even if they painted exactly the same, because they're using two different colors, they're going to end up with different paintings. So a person that uses, one artist uses cerulean blue, another artist uses ultramarine blue. One artist uses cadmium red light, the other artist uses magenta. One artist uses cadmium yellow light, and the other one uses cadmium yellow dark. They're all going to keep progressing, but they're going to create different colors in their painting. But they'll get so used to using those colors, they'll be confident with them, and they'll make those colors work together. So I'm using the primaries. I've added a couple colors that I really like that I'm very familiar with. But think of blue, any blue, as a color that is cool. Usually it's going to be darker than the yellow and red. So you just think of it in that manner. Now it becomes more dynamic than just saying, okay, I'm using cyan blue. If you're using cerulean blue, it's going to be two completely different things. But if you're thinking of it more dynamic, that it's cool and all of those features of it, you're going to be able to use it in the same way. You think about this rooster, there's a lot of warm colors, cool colors. There's dark colors. There's white, clean colors. There's a lot of contrasts and complements. So the red and the green, the blue and the orange, the white and the black. Those are all, and there's clean colors, there's dirty colors. All of that is creating contrast in the painting and making the painting an interesting subject. Connie, do you have a question? You're muted.
Sorry. What color did you get to get that orangey color there?
So I use cadmium red light and just a little bit of the cyan blue.
Okay.
So originally I took cyan blue and cadmium red light and I mixed equal amounts and I got my black. But this time I took cadmium red light, a little bit of the blue, and it just kind of toned down the orange or the red.
Okay, so you didn't use straight black
No,
on
I
there.
haven't used black yet.
Oh. So you just mix the, okay, well, I'll play here and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, so if you take two colors, two dark colors, one's going to be warm, one's going to be cool. And you mix those two together, you should get a nice black. So a lot of artists will take a dark brown, like a dark umber, and they'll mix it with a Prussian blue or a phthalo blue, and then they get more of nature's black. So they're taking a warm and a cool color. I
So
took,
how do you know which are warm and cool?
when you think of blue, what do you think of?
Cool.
Yeah, so winter, shade. The Impressionists used blue to create layers in their painting of warm and, well, where the sunlight was and where the shade was. And blue was one of the ways that they did that for creating the shade. When you think of yellow, what do you think of when you think of yellow?
Sunshine. It's-
Yep. Red, sometimes we think of red as red hot, but when you think of these three colors together, red is actually cooler than yellow.
I guess it pays to know your colors, huh?
So that if you start looking at them as, actually, here's a good example. Right here, definitely cool, right?
Yeah.
This area, definitely warm. So when I'm mixing colors together, I'm not thinking of red. I might think of like immediately, okay, I'm gonna make a red, but I want it to be warmer. So I'm gonna tone it down, kind of make it a burnt orange red or a burnt orange feel to it. With blue, I might think of it as cool, but then I might also tone it down quite a bit with white to make a sky. But in doing that, one thing, like in making my dark brick color here, I used the same colors that's on my palette. I keep recycling the same colors on my palette, so I keep everything in harmony. So right now I'm just using one knife. If I was actually painting this for, I don't want to confuse people, that's why I just stick to one knife. But if I was going to paint this, say for myself, I might use 2 or 3 different size knives. Oh, I'm glad to hear that. Can I slow down? Yes. Thank you for the reminder. So like I mentioned earlier, when we get done with our rooster here, we're going to paint them again, but we're going to be timed and we'll have to paint them in 20 minutes. So right now we're building muscle memory. We're thinking about where all the colors go. We're getting really confident in the shape of our rooster. So once we start doing it in that timed way, now we have to completely rely on our intuition. So we have to make quick decisions and trust those decisions. The thing I recommend is do the slow process where you kind of methodically work out the details in the rooster, but also do timed paintings. The timed paintings is where you really learn everything. And once we do our timed painting tonight, you'll see what I mean. Can we go through? Yes. All right, so when Jake gets back, we'll have him throw the rooster up again. But as far as the greenish blue black, so if you take a little bit of yellow, and if you mix in your black here, you're going to get a green. So now take just a little bit of blue and mix that together. Now you get a nice turquoise emerald green.
All right, you said you wanted the rooster up again?
Yeah. There we go.
All right, let me know when I should take it down here.
All right. And so usually what I'll do, because sometimes you get stuck on the details. When I paint, I'll usually take a look at, kind of study my subject, and then set the subject or the picture or whatever I'm using, set it aside. Because now if I focus too much on the details, I'm going to lose out on creating a personality in the rooster or the subject. So I can always go back. When I'm painting a subject, the one thing I'm looking for is what are the telltale signs that it's this subject. So if it's a moose, obviously his big rack. If it's a rooster, it's the tail feathers, it's the comb, it's the shape of the rooster. So once I get those things in place in my mind, now I can move forward and create the painting. This style of painting, usually you can get it to be realistic. Matter of fact, if you look at a realistic painting up close, most likely it is made up of small abstract shapes of paint, abstract application of the paint. So here, what we're kind of doing is even we're doing that same thing, but on a larger scale. So this just gets us into painting, removing the fear so we can move ahead in the skill of painting. Connie?
How did you make the turquoise that real green, pretty color? Again,
So
you mixed blue
and green.
and
So-
green.
Yep, that's the mixture. So what you can do is cut out that process and take a small amount of blue, an even smaller amount of yellow, and add the yellow into the blue. So basically you're keeping the blue, you're just tinting it towards green. Maybe throw a little bit of white in there just so you can see the actual color. So in painting this way, this is kind of cool, and you've already heard, if you've taken the class, you've heard this so many times, but it is a cool way to paint, and that is using suggestion. So right now, if you think about it, we have not painted a rooster. We've applied paint to create the suggestion of a rooster. And it's starting to look like a rooster. The power of suggestion is greater than the statement of reality. So what do I mean by that? If we painted this rooster in perfect detail, we told the whole story. And if somebody looked at that painting, they would say, wow, they have nice skill in creating a perfect replication of that rooster. But when we paint with suggestion, we're actually getting them more involved in the painting. So if we painted it realistic, we only hit on maybe a cerebral part of their brain where they're appreciating the skill involved. But when you do suggesting, now you're actually hitting their emotional side, maybe their sentimental side, their creative side, maybe even into a little bit of their own history. Maybe one of you guys have lived on a farm, so you know the attitude of roosters. So all of a sudden you kind of feel that attitude of rooster. So we're hitting it on multiple layers, but we're letting the viewer get pulled into the story that's being told in the painting. So here's what's a cool example of that. I should get a nickel for every time I tell this story. So Ernest Hemingway, we all know Ernest Hemingway, a great writer, but he was actually mocked and ridiculed for being a simpleton. Critics said that his writing style, his use of words was all very simple. One critic said you don't need a dictionary to read an Ernest Hemingway book because it was basically for children. That was the idea behind their criticism. But we know Ernest Hemingway as one of the greatest American writers, but he simplified everything. And he knew that there was criticism of him. And so to his friends, he made a challenge to them. He proposed a challenge. He said, if I can make you cry using only 6 words, you guys have to give me $10. And so, they laughed at him and said, sure, we'll give you $10 if you can get us to cry using 6 words. So he comes to them. Here is what he said. For sale, baby shoes, never worn. What did he do? He told a long story, but he left out all the details. And now the person, his friends that are listening, filled in the details. They all agreed it was a masterpiece. They were moved by his message or his story. So he left out all the details. He just presented the suggestion of a story. And of course, if we were to, each one of us would probably have a different version of how that story plays out. But it got his friends involved in the story, not only in a cerebral way, intelligent way, but also an emotional way. It got them thinking creatively about what happens in that story. So that's what we kind of want to do with painting. We don't want to put in all the details. We want to tell just enough of the story where the people who are looking at our art, they finish the story and they finish all the details that go into it. I love that example because it really shows that idea that the power of suggestion is greater than the statement of reality. His friends don't exactly sound like friends. Exactly. Now you know how I feel. All my friends make fun of me too. All right, Lena, where are you? Let's see your painting. Don't let it be better than mine. I knew it. Beautiful. Awesome job, Lena. Oh, I'm gonna say I have some criticism for you though. But I warned you about it. Look where the tail went. It went right off the edge of the canvas. Can you bring that in just a little bit? See how it went off there? Yeah, so just tone that down or kind of chop his tail off a little bit with that blue. I know it's sad. But otherwise, if you keep him within the painting, our eye stays within the painting and it doesn't exit the painting. But that you always do such a nice job. I can't believe each week you keep getting better. I'm gonna have you teach the class one of these days. Yeah, you can see it's super easy to do that. Sending that tail off the edge. I always kind of create an imaginary, maybe a little over an inch around the edge. And I think of that space coming in from the edge about an inch, and that's my border. All right, I'm gonna, those orange tail feathers on his back, I'm gonna paint those in. When you think of the feathers, they're all falling down to the ground on his body. So what I want to do is I want to start at the bottom and work up towards the top of the rooster. So that allows me to, let's see here. So I see this is a lot redder than what I just did. So I'm actually going to take my cadmium red light and my magenta and mix those two together. So again, hey Jake, will you show that rooster one more time?
Sure. is.
All right, so you notice on the back, on the side of the rooster, it's orange, but as it goes up around the top, around his back, at the bottom of his neck, you see that it darkens up again. Though there is some light, that it's creating some light on top of the back. But for the most part, it's darker than that orange that's on the side. So you have orange on the side of him, but if you look at that red below his neck, coming around his chest, you'll see that it is almost a magenta red color in comparison to the orange. So if you want to make a great orange, magenta, we're going to use our two primaries, magenta and cadmium yellow. So the magenta is going to be quite a bit more powerful than the yellow. So remember with that palette knife, don't use it hardly any pressure. Let the two colors kiss and then slide your palette knife and lift it off. And then trust that it's right. As soon as you start going back in there and trying to fix the palette knife or the paint that you just applied, you're going to ruin the painting. The colors will start blending together. It's that initial stroke that you want to just trust that it works. Now, one thing you have to appreciate is that I do this every day. I use that palette knife every day. I've painted hundreds of chickens. So I'm confident in how I'm going to apply the paint. If you're frustrated with your painting, that is okay. It's actually good, because frustration is your best friend if you want to become better as an artist. So what does frustration do? Simply, it tells you what not to do next time. I've actually saved all my old ugly paintings to remind me, don't do that again. But that's the idea is keep practicing, keep painting. Matter of fact, we're gonna, once we do this rooster again, you're gonna see, actually your skill with the palette knife is gonna improve tremendously. Another thing is, don't worry about your painting not looking like mine. I actually, matter of fact, you will become a better artist if you apply the paint in a way that makes sense to you. So I apply my paint here, what makes sense to me. But you might do it completely different. And if you're trying to do it the way I do it, you're just gonna get frustrated. So apply that paint, do it in a way that makes sense to you. Remember, keeping it simple, your palette knife or your brush is just a tool. We use it to pick up our paint and to push it onto the canvas and then move it around. And another pitfall is we take our paint. Let me grab some paint here. And we just keep repeating the same pattern over and over again. So that's why you want to kind of get in there and make a variety of shapes. Remember how we took our charcoal and sketched out our rooster? We didn't really take our charcoal off the paper. We just kept moving it around until we were happy with the shape. You can do that same thing with your palette knife and the paint. So here we go. Just kind of a rooster. Remember that power of suggestion, it's going to do more for the painting than if you were to try to get it perfect. And if you think about it, being an artist is being creative. So we have to apply the paint in a creative way. That way we're using that power of suggestion, we're telling our own story for the painting. So I just painted the head. And hey, Jake, will you throw that rooster back up?
Yep.
So basically, you want to apply the paint suggesting the head. So if you look at that head, let's see here. What are some shapes that it goes back behind the head just a little bit. So it kind of has that crown. And it's darker back there. But I just apply the paint in small sections, just making, adding paint to suggest the idea that it's that rooster face right there. So basically you want a bowl sitting on his head, the shape of a rough bowl. It goes out behind off the back of his head. And then on the top of that bowl, we see the little combs on there. Again, in making the chicken, you can almost put any blob of red or those two blobs of red up there in any fashion, because you already identified the body as a chicken. No matter what you put up there, it's going to work as the crown for that rooster. And also it's oh, I can't think of what it's called below the beak. Is 10 points for whoever comes up with the name of that.
Goatee,
Waddle, there it is.
waddle. There you go.
All right. 10 points to those guys.
All right, I'm gonna step away here for a sec, Jeff.
How's everybody doing? Cool. I see a couple thumbs up. Remember, don't try too hard. I promise you're gonna like your painting better if you don't do any of those fine details until the very end. So that's going through a painting so slow like this is not as much fun. You're really going to appreciate painting this rooster quickly. Probably 95% of the time when we do these classes, that second painting is the favorite painting.
Sarah's wondering, how did you get the yellow?
The background.
Yeah, I think so.
So Ada, just take your palette knife and scrape it right off. Remember, just do something drastic if you don't like something. So the background, all I did is mixed my 2 yellows and a little bit of my mud and a little bit of blue and a lot of white.
Ada says it won't scrape off. Tried, but it just blends.
So then you'll just have to go back over and remember, gently add a new color on top of it.
Also, I'm wondering, Ada, are you using? Do you know if you're using oils or acrylics, or if it's not a specific or a different medium? Because that could also have an effect on how it blends. Oh, acrylics.
Oh, okay. So then just let it dry and then you can paint right over the top. If you have a hair dryer, go grab a hair dryer and blow it, and it'll dry within a few seconds. Or even if you have a fan will speed it up, the drying process also. All right, I just decided to kind of finish mine up a little bit, give you something to look at, but also yeah, give you something to look at. If you have any questions about You guys tell me when you want to try that fast paint. So remember, I was talking about building that house. Nobody cares about where you're going to put that pillow on the couch until you actually are done with the house. So right now, what I did is just added a few little details that were fun. So I took kind of an orange pink color, had some fun with all of his colors, kind of exaggerated it, had fun. Do the same thing, try small amounts, and just see if you like it. Maybe try a hot pink, and it might go on and it'll be loud, obnoxious. Tone it down a little bit, or try it in another spot because it might work. You just need something else to help carry that color. Thank you, Paula, for joining us.
I think I dropped off there for a second.
Fall asleep, Jake?
I think so. Now my Wi-Fi is just acting up. I gotta close a few things here. Trying to do too many things at once.
Anybody want to show their roosters? Oh, excellent, Barb. Very nice. Excellent, Tina. Beautiful, Leslie. Beautiful, you guys. Do you notice how everybody's looks different? So usually you think of a paint class. Oh, very nice, Sharon. Very nice. So if you've taken paint classes, let me see if I missed anybody here. Oh, Josh and Megan, awesome. Rob, okay, beautiful Joanna. Beautiful Sarah. Awesome Tammy. Look at the fun that Tammy had with her rooster. Excellent. And Marlene and Diane, beautiful. Very beautiful. And nice, Connie. Excellent. All right, so let's see, what time is it? Maybe in about maybe a quarter after, we'll start the quick paint. So just, finish up some things on the painting. But the quick paint, we're going to do this again. We don't have to worry about all the details. All we want to do is just suggest that it's a rooster on there. You have a lot of extra paint on your palette, so this is an opportunity to use that up. Just have fun. And I always say, don't like the painting. So kind of expect that you're just going to throw it in the garbage. So if that's the case, now we don't care. We're willing to try things out of our comfort zone if we have that mentality. It's just a nice way to get rid of that fear that holds us back from creating great paintings. Again, if you look at my painting, I didn't paint a rooster. All it is a bunch of paint applied to, suggesting a rooster. All it is just scrapes of paint everywhere, going in different directions. So I never really actually painted a rooster. I abstracted the rooster in my mind and I applied paint just with the idea that it would come together. So a bunch of parts coming together to make a rooster.
We got a question here. Jeff said, did you put a little white at the base of the tail feathers body side?
Right here. Yep. Yes, Ada, do not lick the painting. I think that's what Vincent van Gogh did, but he ended up cutting his ear off.
All right, it looks like it's just about a little past a quarter after. If you wanted to start it at that time, but
Yeah, let's do it.
not sure where everyone is with their paintings.
So we're gonna do it. I'm gonna do a quick sketch again. If you want to practice a couple times, so just create a color here. Doesn't matter what color it is. Do a quick little sketch like that. You can take it and throw the back on there. Just do as quick a sketch as you can with the rooster. There's no details, just kind of get used to that body shape using your palette knife. And we're just going to scrape this off. Good night, Ada. Good night, sleep tight. Don't let the bed bugs bite.
Oh, Ada's showing her her painting.
Beautiful, Ada. Is it watercolor? Is it acrylic? Nice job. Beautiful job. Now, do you want to try the really fast paint or do you have to go? So did you see, if you look at how abstract this is, it still registers in our mind as a rooster, right? Again, the power of suggestion. I just threw colors in there, suggesting the rooster. Look at how bad the feet are. If you look close, you realize. If I missed that, Ada. If you look too close, it you'll see that it's a horrible rendition of feet, but it works because I'm just suggesting the feet. So just try a little sample of that. We're going to scrape it off. Matter of fact, I think I'm gonna paint my rooster abstract like this. See what I can get away with. See if he's still believable as a rooster. It's a great way to paint. And again, it goes back to that idea of the power of suggestion. It actually pulls the viewer, the person looking at your painting, into the painting, and they connect with it on multiple levels. So that's what we want to try to accomplish. And I was telling Jake earlier, there's hidden wet paint somewhere in the studio, and I can't figure out where it is. And it keeps getting on everything. I just found it.
Where was it?
It was actually a big glob that fell into all my tubes on the table here.
Oh no.
And so every time I picked up a new tube, I would get more paint on me.
Yep. That's the dangers of paint.
Exactly. All right, so I never used black. I mixed a dark warm and a dark cool together, which was my blue and my cadmium red light. That gave me the black that I wanted. Let's see here. To get that nice emerald green, blue is the base. And then we add, if we have green, we can add a little bit of green to that. Or we can just add just a tiny amount of yellow, and it's going to start turning it towards that turquoise color and emerald color. Let's see here. Remember, we just want to suggest. We don't want to, hey, Jay, can you put up that rooster again? And maybe what we'll do is leave that rooster up. And that way nobody is looking at, I want you to paint it completely from your own intuition. Okay. So break the rooster apart in shapes. So obviously we talked about that heart shape originally, but then look at the orange and red going across his back. Look at the how the wattle, the comb is looking. Just break it down into basic shapes. And when we actually go to paint, do it with the power of suggestion. So you're only applying paint to suggest area of the rooster. I'm going to scrape off my rooster here.
All right, let me know when you want me to start the timer. I got it all set up, ready to go.
Let's see, is everybody ready?
One setup good enough?
I can't see everybody, so they'll have to.
Yep, seeing a few thumbs up.
And so remember, recycle all that old paint that you used from the first rooster.
All right. You ready, Jeff?
I am.
All right. Looks like there were at least most were ready, so we're gonna start in 3, 2, 1. Go.
And 20 minutes.
20 minutes. Yep. All right, just a little under 15 minutes left.
Perfect.
I missed the 10-minute mark, around 8 minutes left right now.
Oh, you gotta give us an extra couple minutes because of that now.
I'll consider it. All right, I'll give an extra reminder. Around 6 minutes and 30 seconds left. All right, right around 5 minutes left.
Oh, man.
2 minutes and 30 seconds left. One minute left.
You won't believe the anxiety you're giving me, Jake.
All right, that is 20 minutes.
Woo-wee. All right, do you want to take down that,
Yep.
or does anybody need it for a few more moments? How did everybody do? I know Nick did an awesome job. I can see. Yeah, oh, I missed it, Nick. Barb, that's awesome. It's super hard to see, Nick. But it almost like the pixels aren't allowing me to see a clear picture. I like them. Very nice. Yeah, Barb, that's awesome. Tina, beautiful. So what did, beautiful, Leslie. So what do you guys think about that faster painting? Maybe we can get a couple comments, or if anybody has any questions. Oh, beautiful, Rachel. I'm just scrolling through. You know, it's kind of cool. How many of you are looking at other people's paintings and going, boy, I wish my painting looked like that? Beautiful, Robin. You know, it's super funny. Yep, nice, Rachel. Everybody else might be looking back at your painting and saying, boy, I wish my painting looked like that person's. that's just the way things go. We're critical of our own painting. And we admire what everybody else did. Yeah, very nice. I hope I'm not missing anybody. Beautiful, Joanna. Beautiful, Sarah. These are your fast ones? So I want to hear some comments about what did you think about painting fast like this? Remember, we did all the prep work, created the muscle memory, and then all of a sudden we went to it and painted purely out of intuition. Would anybody like to maybe express some, I don't know, thoughts, concerns, frustrations, what you liked about it, what you didn't like about it?
You want people to raise their hand so I can
Yeah.
unmute them, or okay?
And if they have any questions too, we have a few minutes left. We can entertain some questions. Bye, Wendy. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, if you have a question or a comment, you can raise your hand so that I can unmute you. Let's see here. I'm scrolling through. Oh, let's see here. You should see prompt.
Like, once you know how to do it, all the steps, I kind of like going faster.
Yeah. Who said that now? I'm scrolling through to find out who said that.
I did, Barb.
Oh, Barb. So, yeah. So when I create a painting, what I'll do is sketch it out many times. If I'm gonna, whatever subject I'm gonna do, I just keep drawing them over and over again. And again, some of them turn out good, some of them turn out bad. But I get so comfortable with the subject that when I actually go to create the painting, I can make more decisive decisions and work through it quicker. You're welcome, Heather. Thank you for joining us tonight. And so I paint a lot of the same subjects. And every time I paint something that I've already painted, it's a new adventure. I also get a little more confident and I'll try a little experimenting with it. Maybe step outside of what I'm comfortable with. And so I want to encourage everybody to try that. So maybe tomorrow, or maybe even after we log off here, do another painting. Do one in 10 minutes. Any other questions? Adenike, did you have a question? I saw your hand up.
Let's see here. Let me find you.
Rachel, that is amazing.
It was
Rachel, not Rachel.
just a comment. It was less stressful, so it was fun. The fast.
The fast one?
Mhm.
Cool.
Over here.
Yeah, because you don't care. There's no fear. We've removed the fear. And so now if it works out, it works out. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And usually having that as an afterthought or a back, as a foundation thought, I should say. Now we have no fear and we can just move ahead.
Yep.
Cool. Any other questions or comments? So what are we painting next week, Jake?
We are painting. Let me look. I think it's a buffalo.
Oh, cool. I think it's he's laying down.
Yeah, let me just double check real quick.
Thank you, Robin.
Thanks, Robin. All right. Yeah, and if you're able to, we usually tell people to post on Instagram their painting, and then just tag us, using at Buffalo Bowden. Oh, next week it is not the buffalo, it is the fox.
Oh, nice.
But then the week after the fox is the buffalo.
Okay. Yeah, the fox is gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah. But if you're able to just post your take a picture, post it on Instagram. If you have Instagram, that's the best way to share your painting with us, and then that way we can put it on our story if you're comfortable with that, and then share it with other people, because everyone loves to see others' paintings and the variety of paintings. Also, all painting the same subject, but they all turn out different. Interesting. Let's show. Oh, Kyrie wants to show their. Oh, here we go.
Beautiful. Can you tilt
There
it
you
a
go.
little towards me? Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Oh,
Look at that.
nice.
Beautiful. Both of
That's-
them are amazing.
This was number one.
Oh,
Has-
really? Okay.
Few
Okay.
more details.
Yep.
This is number two. Is more chunky and I don't know. Fun.
Interesting.
Very fun. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right. So I'll make my comment. I like your second one. I like your
Yeah.
second one better.
Yeah.
It's got way more texture.
Nice.
Interesting.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah, it's cool to see.
It just,
Oh, let's see here.
makes some
Laura.
crazy chickens.
Let's see. Here's another one, Jeff.
All right.
Aurora, you can scroll through,
I see it. Wow. Beautiful, Aurora.
and then you can unmute if you want, but you don't have to. But yeah, that is beautiful.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Awesome. Oh, that's forgot to mention real quick. If you don't have Instagram, and you still want to send us the painting, you can send it through email or text or whatever. Or you could also use the little submission box or form on the classes page. If you scroll down like midway through or halfway through the scrolling down on the classes page, there's a little place to upload your paintings also. So that's another option. But
If you get
Yeah.
a chance, just keep chickens are a lot of fun just to sketch. See if you can make some really crazy ones.
and then we'll also send you this the link to this video that we upload, the recording of this that we upload to YouTube. So we'll get the link to that to you also. And then if you don't, every Monday we record the classes. If you want to take one, but then for some reason you're not able to, you can go back and watch it at another time and follow along with it if you want, or skip through it, or whatever you prefer. But thank you for everyone for joining. Everyone's paintings that I saw were very, very, very good.
Yeah. If you get a chance, just keep doing some doodles with the roosters, that basic shape. And then paint this guy again. Or find another rooster on the internet and paint a new one. All right. So it is 9 o'clock. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. And hopefully we will see you next week. Actually, do you want to see the fox we're gonna paint?
Here you go. Preview time. There you go.
Can you see it?
Yep,
So
that'll be fun.
yeah, hopefully everybody can join us.
Yep. My mask off. All right, awesome. Thank you, Nick and Caitlin.
I will see everybody next week. Bye.
All right, take care, everyone. Bye.